Right, so in this lesson, we're going to be talking about how to factorize non-monic quadratics. Okay, so the last time we did monic quadratics. So that's when there was remember, there was a 1 in front of the x squared plus bx plus c. This time, we're going to talk about if there's a number in front that we can't get rid of. So remember, we got rid of the number last time, but this time we can't get rid of it. Let me show you with the example. 2x squared plus 5x minus 3. Now, what did I tell you in the last couple of lessons is that if there's a number in front, factorize it out. 2x squared, but hang on. You cannot factorize it out from this, right? Because what's 5x divided by 2? That's going to be 5 over 2x pretty much, right? So you're going to have ugly fractions, right? So this lesson is pretty much to teach you how to factorize this. If you cannot take the number away, the number has to stay if you cannot factorize. Okay, so stay with me here. There's a whole bunch of steps, okay? But we'll go through it step by step slowly. Okay, step number 1 is to take the first number and multiply the last number. So 2 multiplied by negative 3. 2 times negative 3 is going to be 6. No, negative 6. Okay. Now, step number 2 is the same as what we did before. Find factors of negative 6 this time that add to positive 5. Okay. And what are those factors? It's going to be plus 6 and negative 1, right? Because 6 minus 1 is 5. 6 times negative 1 is negative 6. Okay. So these are your two factors. Now, you're not just going to go. So remember at this stage for the previous thing, we just did x plus 6 and x minus 1. But we're not going to do it like this time. What we're going to do instead is take this middle term, which is 5x, and split it up into both the factors. So you have plus 6 plus 1. Minus 1. Right? Those are your two factors. Instead, you're going to write plus 6x and minus 1x, like so. Okay? So I'm going to split 5x into both its factors, which is plus 6x and minus 1x. And then everything else, you just write it down. So 2x squared comes down, and then negative 3 comes down. Okay, so I'll quickly recap what we did. We took the first and the last number, 2 and negative 3, multiplied. Factors of negative 6 that add to positive 5. And then what we did, we split the positive 5x into plus 6x and minus 1x. So this factor x and this factor x. Right, so that's most of the work done. We're almost done. Now, what we're going to do here is factorize by grouping. Okay, so remember we did it all the way back in the factorizing lesson. We did factorizing by grouping. So how do you do it? You take the first two terms, so 2x squared plus 6x, right? And you factorize the common factor out. What's the common factor? It would be 2x is the common factor. So if you take 2x out, what are you left with is x plus 3, because 6x divided by 2x is 3. Okay, so we're left with x plus 3. Next, you factorize the last two numbers, the last two terms. So what's common factor? Well, I can take the negative 1 out. So if I take negative 1 out, what I'm going to be left with is x, and then negative 3 divided by negative 1 is positive 3. So if you take negative 1 out, what do you notice, right? So we did this in factorizing by grouping. X plus 3 is common, so we can take it out. So if you take x plus 3 outside, what are you left with? If you divide this by x plus 3, this and this cancel, you're left with 2x. And if you divide this by x plus 3, the second term, this cancel, you're left with minus 1. Okay, good. Look at that. You factorized it. Okay, that's it. Now, I know it's a bit confusing. Don't worry, we'll do another question. So, first step, take the first number and the last number and you multiply it together. So 3 multiplied by negative 10. What's that? That's negative 30. Okay, next, factors of negative 30 that add to positive 13. So let's do it. Or maybe 10 and 3. Okay, what do you think? Plus 10 plus 3. Okay, our factor is 10 and 3. Okay, yeah, 10 plus 3 add to 13. But hang on, there's a problem here, guys. What do you notice? What is 10 multiplied by, so plus 10 times plus 3 is positive 30. Do we want positive 30? No, we want a negative 30. So these are not our factors. So it's a very common, this does happen quite a bit. So make sure you check both adding and make sure that it multiplies to the desired number, negative 30. So no, 10 and 3, no good. Okay, what about 5 and 6? Right, 5 plus 6 is 6 times 5 is 30, but no, that's not it. So okay, in this case, if you don't know what the factors are, just start writing down all the factors. 1, 30, 2, 15. And I think we already got it. 2 and 15 is our factors, right? So pretty much if you make minus 2 and plus 15, they add to positive 13, right? So negative 2 and positive 15 are our factors. So this is the same as always. Now, we're going to split this up into its two factors. So it's minus 2x plus 15x, right? So again, this factor x and this factor x. And bring everything else down. 3x squared minus 10. All right, so I hope you understand. Let's keep going. So factorize the first two. So now pretty much factorize by grouping. Factorize the first two out. What's common? It's going to be just x is common. So you're left with 3x minus 2. And then factorize the last two, 15x minus 10. What's a common factor? Common factor is going to be 5. So if you take 5 outside, you're going to be left with 3x minus 2. Again, you'll notice, if you did everything correctly, this inside the brackets and this inside the brackets should be the same thing. If they're different, that means you made a mistake somewhere over here. Okay, so that means you have to go back and fix it. But 3x minus 2 is common, so let's factorize it out. So you're left with 3x minus 2, and then divide, so pretty much in the other brackets, x plus 5. So this and this. Okay, so that's it, you factorize it. Now let me ask you a question. How would you do this question if I said 2x squared plus 5x minus 3 is equal to 0? Right, remember we did null factor law in the previous lessons, right? Well, you would factorize it first, so we already done it here. So x plus 3 is equal to 0, right? Because pretty much if this is the same as this, all we did was factorize it. So that means the x plus 3, 2 minus x is 0. Then you make null factor law, x plus 3 equals 0, and then 2x minus 1 equals 0. So x is equal to negative 3, 2x is equal to 1, x is equal to half. So you got two solutions, negative 3 and half. Okay, so same thing, if I made this equal to 0, then that means 3x minus 2, x plus 5 is 0, pretty much x equals negative 5, and x equals 2 on 3, if you do. Okay, so that's pretty much how you factorize non-monic quadratics. So we'll do one last question together, one last question. 6 times negative 6, 6 multiplied by negative 6. So multiply the first and the last number, you get negative 36. Next, we want factors of negative 36 that add to negative 5. Let's do it. 1, 36, no. 2 and 18, probably not. 3 and 12, so 3 plus 12 is 15. 3 minus 12 is negative 9, so no, probably not. 4 and 9, 4 plus 9 is 13. 4 minus 9 is negative 5. Oh, well, there you go. So it's 4, positive 4, and negative 9. Those are two factors. So again, you take the middle number and split it up into both factors, right? So one of them is plus 4x, and one of them is minus 9x. By the way, let me quickly tell you, even if you swap these two around, it doesn't matter. The order doesn't matter. So you could just as easily do instead, and in fact, I'm going to do it the other way just to prove you. I'm going to do minus 9x and plus 4x, like this. Okay, just to prove to you that it doesn't matter which order you put it in. Okay, so it's going to be 6x squared minus 6, they just come down, and then factorize by grouping. Take the first two, so what's the common factor is 3x, so you have x minus 3, and then you factorize the last two, 4x minus 6. So, and what you're left with is 2x minus 3. Oh, sorry, and I made a mistake here, guys. I don't know if you noticed, but over here it should be 2x. Okay, now I'm glad that I made a mistake, because look, if I did make that mistake, you notice that this and this aren't the same. That means you should realize that you made a mistake. And what's the mistake I made? Well, if you factorize 3x out from here, this should be a 2. Okay, so it's 2x minus 3 and 2x minus 3. So factorize by grouping, you take 2x minus 3 out because it's common. And then you're left with 3x plus 2. So this and this is left on the other brackets. That's it. Okay, so I hope you understand. Now it's your turn. Why don't you guys pause the video and have a go. Okay, these are the answers. Well done if you got them right. If not, I'm not going to teach you all of them. I'm going to walk through two questions. I'm going to go through question 2 and question 4 because those are kind of the tricky ones. So first step, 9 times 11 is going to be 99. Okay, factors of 99 that add to negative 100. I think it's kind of obvious. 1 and 99. Right? If you have negative 1, negative 99. Right? Negative 1 times negative 99 is positive 99. Negative 1 plus negative 99 is negative 100. So it checks out both of our rules. So you split negative 100 into negative 99x and minus 1x plus 11 and 9x squared. They just come down. Factorize by grouping. What's common? You take the 9 out, you're going to have x minus 11. And then if you take the negative 1 out, you're going to have negative 1 x minus 11 as well. So x minus 11 is common, so you have x minus 11 and 9x minus 1, like so. Okay, and I will also walk you through question 4, just because, you know, it's a negative number in the front, so you have negative 10 in the front, but it's no different. It's the same thing. So we're going to do negative 10 multiplied by 2 is negative 20. Okay, factors of negative 20 that add to just, remember, if there's no number there, that's the same as negative 1, right? It's just a negative 1. So factors of negative 20 that add to negative 1. Let's see. 1 and 20, nope. 2 and 10, nope. 3 and, no factors exist. 4 and 5. 4 times 5 is 20, right? So which one's positive, which one's negative? Well, if you have positive 4 and negative 5, that means if I add them together, they make negative 1. So these two are my factors. So you split it up. You split it up into plus 4x minus 5x. So this factor x and this factor x, the 2 comes down and the negative 10x x squared comes down. Alright, so we brought the negative 10x squared down and the 2 down as well. So now we need to start by factorizing by grouping. So you take the first two and factorize. So you take negative 2 as a common factor. So it will be 5x plus, so minus 2. Okay, it will be 5x minus 2. And so if you divide this by negative 2x and if you divide this by negative 2x, pretty much, guys. So take the common factor out. So over here, right, how do you factorize this? There's no common factors. Well, actually, because of the negative sign, you can take negative 1 out as a common factor. So what I mean is this. If you take negative 1 out, divide this by negative 1, 5x divided by negative 1 is just, negative 5x divided by negative 1 is just 5x. And then 2 divided by negative 1 is just negative 2. Okay, so kind of what I did over there was I factorized the negative 1 out. So I just got rid of this negative from the plus 5x. Because remember, we want to make this a positive 5x. So I got rid of that negative by factorizing. Okay, so 5x minus 2 on both sides. So what do you guys think we should do here? Well, 5x minus 2 is common. So you take 5x minus 2 out, 5x minus 2. This would be 2x, I forgot. That should be 2x because that's what we took out. That's a common factor. Then it will be negative 2x minus 1. Okay, so that's it. That's the final answer. Hope you understand. That's it. Okay, almost done, guys. Last question is this. Use null factor law to solve for x. So you'll notice these are the exact same questions I gave you, right? But not, this time I'm making them equal to 0 and asking you to solve for x. So pause the video and have a go. All right, so how do you do this? Well, we need to factorize first. Okay, so we did this in the null factor law lesson. So what do you have to do? You have to take this, factorize it, and hang on, we already factorized it, right? The answer was this, 4x minus 5 and x minus 10. We already factorized question 1, this question 1. And all it's doing is making this equal to 0, right? So then use null factor law, 4x minus 5 equals 0, and x minus 10 equals 0, right? So x is equal to 5 on 4, and x is equal to 10. Okay, and I'll quickly go through each of them, doesn't take too long. So this is question 2, was x is equal to 1 on 9, x is equal to 11, that's the answer. So null factor law again. Question 3, x equals 1 on 4, x equals, so this one's a bit different, so I'll do it. So if you have 3 minus 2x, you make it equal to 0. Negative 2x is equal to negative 3. X is equal to negative 3 divided by negative 2. X is equal to 3 over 2. Okay, boom. Next, this is equal to negative half, and x is equal to, you take 2 to the other side. So you make 2 minus 5x, 2 minus 5x, you make it equal to 0. Negative 5x is equal to negative 2, x is equal to negative 2 over 5, negative 5, x is equal to 2 over 5. That's it. Okay, so that's it for this lesson. So I hope you understand. All right, that's it. I'll see you soon.